Hey, who doesn't like a cold beer every now and then? We all have our favorites. There's ales, stouts, lagers, porters. Now the latest craze is ready-to-drink cocktails and seltzers. How do you make sense of it all? Well, it's a good thing we have the gurus from Katcef Brothers to sort it all out. Sit back, relax, eavesdrop for a bit as we talk about the latest beers, seltzers, cocktails, and the best local events that need to be on your calendar. You ready? Let's get to it.
Today we're doing something special. We're going to be talking with Don Hooker, who is the founder of the Chesapeake Bay Blues Festival, and Neal Katcef, who is the big boss here, and we probably need to be on our best behavior. The Blues Festival, which is coming in on May 21st and 22nd at Sandy Point Park.
What about me?
Okay, and we got Cassie over here.
Thank you.
Yeah, really?
Thank
you chop liver?
Cassie's actually the boss.
She
Which
does
she tells me every day.
All right, continue, John. Thank you for the intro.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Blues Festival is coming in on May 21st and 22nd, and perhaps people say that April 18th this year was one of the saddest days of the year because you had to pay your taxes, but I'm going to say it was April 5th when I got the email from Don saying this was the last Blues Festival of almost 25 years, and we definitely wanted to talk to the two guys that really sort of made it happen. And thank you for inviting me into your conference room again, Neal. I appreciate it. And Don, it's always good to see you guys a little bit better when you're a little bit calmer and not running around like a madman with a walkie-talkie around your neck. Right?
Those days are coming soon.
Or catching a nap in your hammock underneath the stage. Where did all this start from? I mean, it started in 1998.
Right.
What was the genesis of it? Why did you do this?
At the time, I owned a computer company, and it was fairly successful. We were an IBM remarketer. In my travels, I wound up doing a blues cruise in Chicago and fell in love with the blues with a lot of my customers. Then attended a blues festival out on the West Coast. It was the Long Beach Blues Festival. And I just thought, man, this is a great thing. So I stole all their ideas, and I decided, where do I want to have this festival? And I came over to Bay Bridge Wednesday, and I said, that's where I want to have the festival. It's at Sandy Point State Park. So then I had to convince the state of Maryland that a computer programmer could put on a decent festival of that size. I had to promise them that I would fix the park up when I was done and leave it just like I found it. And after quite a few weeks, I convinced them that, and a call to a couple of friends of mine in the legislature, I wound up getting the park. And the park did not like the idea at first. I can tell you that because they didn't do anything outside of that. They still don't do anything for outside promoters except 3 events, and you know what they are. So we got it, and it was my way of giving back because, again, we were fairly successful with the company. So it was my way of giving back and getting my employees involved. There was about 100 of them at the time, getting them involved in putting their time into something rather than just writing checks and rather than having United Way deducted from their paychecks. So that was the beginning of the Blues Festival.
Wow. Did you ever expect it to be what it is today back then?
We were expecting like a bake sale. We were expecting somewhere between 500 and 1,000 people the first year, and we wound up with like 13,000 the first year.
Neal remembers that well.
And it poured down rain. It was raining sideways. It was 40-mile-an-hour gusts off the bay. It was cold. And 13,000 people still showed up, and they were dressed for it. And I decided, I got to keep doing this because these people are diehards. They'll show up no matter what. I didn't have to get rain insurance ever again. So that's how we got started. That's what that was the expectation that I had. I didn't know if it was going to last past 1 year, but it certainly did.
And from the get-go, you've always given back to the community. I mean, it's always been a fundraiser for local nonprofits. I know you've worked with Larry Griffin and We Care and Friends for years, and Special Olympics, and I mean the list goes on. There's a camp which does
facial anomalies.
Yeah.
They do facial reconstruction.
Which is just it's been a wonderful community event, and certainly when you talk about community events and partners and stuff like that, you've got to look to Katcef Brothers, right? Because you guys. You guys have your thumbs in any number of things, and you guys were with the Blues Festival since year one, right, Neal?
Yes.
I'm trying. How did we get together?
I think we have the same philosophy about you have a successful business, you have an obligation to give back. I mean, I think that's you had to do good, but if you've got that ability, you need to do it. So.
Well, yeah, and I need to say this now. I've been doing this in the business for quite a long time. And I rate Don as the most professional promoter I have ever dealt with, all right? And I've dealt with lots of them. Lots of them are, as I've told Don in the past, lots of them are a little sleazy, somewhat, questionable business ethics. And Don is like just the most above board. Not easy to work with. Don is not easy to work with. but that's what I admire about him. He's extremely professional, and when he tells me that, Neal, we're doing this, and these are my charities, and it doesn't include that other charity in my back pocket, okay. That's what I've always respected about Don. So working with him the first year, it was like...
We set a record in Anne Arundel County for a number of kegs sold.
Did we?
Yeah.
There we go. It was just
366 kegs.
Yeah, but more that's
I know that's.
But what's important is that really what Don represents to through both with himself and his lovely daughter Sarah, and through the Blues Festival, what they do for this community. It's just heartwarming. It's wonderful. It's and it's not a love fest, but it's just one can't appreciate what a pleasure is to work with someone is like. You never question anything that Don does. So hats off, bud.
Yeah, you just don't know me that well.
And unfortunately, you know me that well.
I think we know each other pretty well.
Well, I mean, what are some of your favorite memories that have? You mentioned the rain the first year, which
that was a mess. That was certainly a mess.
You guys get rained on an awful lot.
We do. We picked a bad weekend.
I remember those stickers. What did the stickers say?
We can't control the rain. Is that the one or no? That was the first year when we had the festival. We had to delay for an hour and a half because the soundboard got wet and it was going to shock everybody. And it was that bad. First year, right out of the chute, we're an hour and a half behind schedule, and the crowd started chanting "rain or shine" because that's what it said on the ticket. And I got on a microphone just for quick, and I got shocked when I grabbed the microphone and said, "We can't control the rain."
I know. I will. There's so many fun memories. There's not a lot of bad. Everything you do has there's issues, and you just get through them because, at the end of the day, if you got a wonderful event, that's really all that counts. And executing that event is just what we've been able to help Don do. I do have a personal, which Don knows very well. I have a personal favorite memory of the Blues Festival was a group. Now you have to picture that many of the people there are my burnout friends from the '60s. Okay, which is that's just who we are. Okay,
that's our demographic.
Yes. Well, it's like I don't make any apologies. About my earlier life. Not at all. Maybe who I am today. Right. All right. But there was a group that I was just loved as a kid. No one ever heard of them, and I would always make suggestions to Don about groups that play. Like to play.
He still does.
Yes, I do. And Don was like, "No, they're not really blues." And I was like, "Okay, but not everybody have it." No, we can't get them. He was actually he tried to get a group for me, so we can't get them. And said, "Neal, if you want to underwrite them, fine." It's just like okay, but we got this group, and the woman's name was Lydia Pens, and she's with Cold Blood, and I just begged him, dude, you have got to get this woman.
I actually played at Woodstock.
Yeah, yes. Just now, these are people paid the Fillmore West. All right, these are all '60s people, and then it was like we went to the whole. I remember the baloney with their manager asked me if I pay for their flights. Like Don, I called Don. I was like, "Is this right?" And then Don blew up on the that's not the most unprofessional thing I've ever heard. And I felt that guy. And I was like, "I'm not going to tell him."
So I did.
So anyway, she came and it's like, I will say one thing. You know the expression, you can't go home?
Right.
You can't go home. All right. So, I really can't. The music was great. The band was like, there was no one original. She was original. She was actually quite good, still had that energy. And I'm short, and I just never realized how short she was. And then she said, "Oh, you're the Budweiser guy." Or no, she said, "You're the beer guy." I said, "Yeah, I am." She said, "Can I get a glass of wine?" It's like, this is so horrible. Anyway, that was it. It's not my fondest memory, but it's the one that always stick out. It's like meeting her and Don, and before we had this interaction with Don, it's like, you want to come sit backstage? Really? Don gave me my little chair. I could sit. I was like a kid. I was like a kid. Because I'm telling you, in the late 60s, they were like my number one group. Lydia Penn's and Cold Blood, they were my number one group.
Yeah, she was a knockout in the 60s.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, I'm Spotifying when I get back home.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're great. They're great.
Sounds like my Samantha Fish. You guys had her a long time ago.
We've had her several times.
And I'm going to be actually doing a podcast. I was talking to her manager. We're going to be doing a podcast with her in advance of the thing, cool. Hopefully. We got to figure out some dates and stuff like that. But she's a dynamo as well.
Yeah, she is. She's huge right now. Huge.
Yeah. Well, I know my favorite thing was and it actually almost brought tears to my eyes because I thought it was a setup. Is when Trombone Shorty played. I'm going to guess say 17, 16.
The kid in the audience came up.
And there's this kid in the audience who's got a green trombone. And he's sitting there and he's sort of playing along, doing the slide and everything else. And Shorty sees him and like bring him up. And I'm like, okay, this is all set up. This is all a setup. And he goes up there and he jams to this last little bit of song with Trombone Shorty. And this, real cool. And then the kid's getting off stage and his knees collapse. And I look at him and he's crying. And I'm going,
that wasn't a setup.
Man, this shit's real. And it was amazing just to see that. It was
we made his life, I think.
And what it means to people. I mean, I've talked to so many people that have attended, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Alabama, or I'm from Georgia, or I come up every year from wherever it is." It's their thing.
Yeah, I mean, we have people come from Australia, a lot from Europe. I would say over 50% are from out of state that come to the festival.
Yeah,
what's really cool that what you said is every year recognizing faces. All right, that. I've been there forever. And you see, I'm sure they look at, they remember me, but they would look at me, it's like, he's gotten old. But I just see these people, the same, you just very distinct, a couple, maybe, may have family or this, but you just see them every year. And that I've never interacted with them, but just does your heart good. It's like, this is really, this thing has had some staying power, right? Because people will come back, as Don said, from everywhere.
Yeah, kids that were 10 years old. I mean, look how old they are now. They're, they've got kids of their own that are the same age they were when they started coming to the festival with their parents.
But, it's sort of like a Grateful Dead show. I mean, you can sit there and see like a 80-year-old man grooving with his 50-year-old son, grooving with his 25-year-old son with their 8-year-old grandson, and it transcends generations.
Without the LSD, but yeah, it's just
and they're all parked or positioned right where they were the year before and the year before that.
Yeah,
they're lined up.
And
well
for the
before.
record, I never did LSD ever. Never. All right, go ahead.
Before gates open.
I never did. Got high every day. Oh, I never did that stuff. Oh God.
Well, Lydia was your biggest get, I guess it was, for the thing. Who was your biggest get? Who was the And that's really got to be difficult because
there's a few of them. I would say John Lee Hooker was a big one because he hadn't done the East Coast for like 15 years when I got him, and we had to he had to fly out, and he was in his 90s when he played here. It was one of his last festivals, so that was a big get. James Brown was probably one of my favorite performers, and he was a good get, and he was a good guy, and his prices were reasonable because it was for charity, and he gave me money back because it was for charity. He was just a good guy. Aretha Franklin was probably not my favorite performer, but she was certainly the best, one of the big gets that I got.
Right.
Could we editorialize her?
Now you can editorial it out or not. She's dead.
No, I'd never met. Not that I met her, I didn't, but I'd never been exposed live with the diva.
Bonnie Raitt, she was very pleasant, nice to deal with. That was a great get too. Mm-hmm. Joe Bonamassa was a big get. Again, he had big ego, but big get.
Yeah. That was the year that we brought the rain boots.
Yeah.
I remember that well. I think I bought boots specifically
that was like a tropical
weekend.
storm or something.
That was 2 acres of sod the following week that I had to replace from that one.
Although most people, I think, just got rid of their galoshes or boots and went barefoot. Yeah. They were just all in, 110%.
You do it. I mean, it's very similar to the Philadelphia Folk Festival. It does. It's a couple weekends up outside of Philadelphia, and sometimes it rains, and it just turns into this giant little mini Woodstock love fest. And it is what it is. What are you going to do? You're just going to sit there and enjoy it for the moment.
Yeah, and then one of the many things, but a striking thing was how people interact with other people. There was never, and I'm going for every year, there was never, you're in my space, move over. You never see it, but Don reminded me of this, and I remember this, like, people picked up after themselves and everyone else. So then it was over, the place was spotless.
Yes.
I mean, we've done, I can't tell you how many festivals or concerts, outdoor concerts. You never see what you see when you go over Sandy Point, and it's clean, it's spotless.
Yeah.
No, they are. I mean, they're a great audience. I mean, and half the reason I do this is for the audience. It started out being for the charities. Now it's as much for the audience as it is for the charities. And that's why I've drug it out as long as I have.
Well, you've delivered an experience 25 years, year after year after year.
Well, I've told my daughter that, maybe we didn't raise enough this year for charity, but you made 10,000 people really happy for a weekend. How many people could say they did that?
That's true. When you mention your daughter, I mean, let's say Sarah is also instrumental in making this run as well.
Yeah.
And how long has she been involved with this with you?
Since the beginning. She started out in '98, but she was young and she was cleaning trailers. She had her and my oldest son cleaning trailers. That's what they did, and that's not a good job for artists. But they started out doing that, and then they worked different jobs during it, and then somewhere around the early 2000 plus. She came on as the event coordinator, and she's been doing it ever since. And we've had a great partnership. That's been one of the huge pluses for the festival is spending time with your daughter. Certainly we have arguments, but
sure.
But we
nothing changes since birth.
No, but we do have it is fun. For the both of us, I think, working on it. And when we get to the festival, I'm the bad cop and she's the good cop. So when the artist wants something and comes to her, she'll either give it to him or she say, I can't do that, but I can go ask Don if he'll give it to you. And they'll say, no, that's okay.
Who is the lady? I don't remember her name. She's been with you forever. Short, dark hair.
Anela.
Yes.
Yes. She does. She started out as the event coordinator. She actually worked for the company that I had, and she did all the travel for all of our. She did all the travel for our trips. She was a travel agent. She did all the travel for all of our trips, and then I roped her into being the event coordinator. She and a friend of hers, Rosanna, became the event coordinators for the festival, and they did the setup the first few years. I can't remember how many because I'm getting old, but she was pretty instrumental. And now she does the VIP section, which is
and it's all when you come back and there's people, because I need familiarity because it gives you a high level of comfort that there's continuity, and besides Don and Sarah, Anela would always be there and give me a big hug, and it's always great to see her.
Yeah, that's something special when you go into whether it be a store or a restaurant or a festival or something. And I mean, yes, they may not know you by your first name or your last name, but I mean, they know that you've been here before, and there's a true sense of appreciation that you're here.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is we started out the festival with 800 volunteers. We had 2 shifts a day, 200 people a shift, and so we had 800 volunteers. Well, it turns out that a lot of those people started working 2 shifts both days, and we didn't need 800. We're down to 200 volunteers because they work both shifts both days, and they know what they're doing every year when they come back. They have a good time doing it. People recognize them, and they're just half of them were for the company that I owned way back when. Some of them are family. I mean, one of the beer tents is all my cousins and from out of town. One of the beer tents are all the people that Anela knew from Bowie, and then another beer tent is my neighborhood, and another one's my high school classmates.
Well, how many? I mean, is this all run pure volunteers?
Yes. Certainly we have to pay for stage crew and the professional stuff.
Yeah, professional stuff.
But as far as the outside of a few security that we have at critical locations that we pay for, most of it is volunteer. 100%, 99.9% of it is volunteer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then, again, they all know what they're doing. I mean, they're.
Yeah, I guess after 25 years, it probably runs like clockwork.
Yeah, I mean, and my job has gotten much easier because of the volunteers. All I have to do is handle the emergencies and the pains in the asses. But other than that, my job is fairly easy because they know how to handle it now.
Right. Well, April 5th, you did announce that this was going to be the final year for the Chesapeake Bay Blues Festival as we know it. And for those who want to get tickets, go get them now before they're gone. You want to go to bayblues.org. Are VIP still available?
They're sold out right now.
Okay.
We usually put a handful of them back on sale sometime in early May. But if the volunteers don't take them, they'll put them back. I mean, if the sponsors don't take them, we'll put them back on sale. It's just usually, but it's not that many.
Right. But bayblues.org is where you want to go. But after 25 years, and obviously this is no small task to put on a festival like this. I mean, it's not a 2-week planning process. To start planning for the next one starts right after the last roadie loads up and moves out, I'm sure. Why are we stopping now?
Well, I think it's time because what we're able to raise for charity has gotten less, and that's for a few reasons. Our costs have gone up tremendously, starting with artists who can't make, who don't make money on CDs anymore. They make money by live performances, so their rates had to go up. I understand that, but it also raises our rates. We can't raise our ticket prices commensurate with rates. I mean, one of these bands usually, you usually pay as much for one band as you would pay for all 7 of them that are in a day. So 14 bands, and none of them are slack bands. It costs a fair amount of money, and then the logistics go up too. The tents, the porta potties, the generators, the forklifts, everything goes up. Has gone up tremendously. So you have those cost increases. You can't raise your ticket prices. There's less people coming because, quite frankly, people are getting old and don't want to go sit out in the rain anymore, or for whatever reason. I'm getting old, so my volunteer corps is getting old, so we're getting a little long in the tooth, and it's a little bit harder with no knees to go walking around that festival for a week setting up.
Your sponsors aren't getting old. One sponsor is old, and I am senior to you, sir. All right,
not much.
Well, what's the future look like for you after we close out? And this is going to be an epic party. This
I hope so.
Is May. This will absolutely be epic. But what's the future hold for Don Hooker?
Of course, I worry about that because this gives me purpose and a legacy. So now I have to figure out a new legacy and a new purpose.
Oh, I don't think you need to figure out a new one. I mean, this one's going to stand the test of time for sure. But
I do want to keep doing. I have to keep active. I mean, I always have to keep active. So Neal and I have talked, and we definitely want to do other things in the future. We want them to be a little bit rain resistant because we're really getting tired of that.
That makes me happy. So there's no beach in Tahiti with the grandkids in the immediate future anyhow?
No. No, Neal and I mean, Neal and I have got a great partnership since the beginning, and we understand each other. And, frankly, I would have probably had to kill the festival, a lot of years ago if we didn't have Neal as a sponsor. And,
don't say that.
Well, it's the truth. Because we have had big sponsors come and go, but Neal has been there throughout the course of it. And he's the last big sponsor that we have, frankly. Well,
I'll tell you, this lineup this year looks pretty spectacular with Josh Stone, Kenny Wayne Shepherd Band, Samantha Fish, who I'm looking forward to talking to and seeing, the Spinners.
Yeah.
It's and I can't say that this lineup is any better than any other year because I see that every year. I look at it and go, oh my God, look at this lineup. This can't be it can't be any better. It can't be any better. And each year is just you do such a great job with that.
And that's the problem is I can't go backwards. I can't book a lot of unknowns up to the closer and expect people to you can't go backwards. You can't give them Mercedes Benz and then all of a sudden give them a Kia.
Right. Well, what does the festival look like this year? I mean, obviously, it's going to look very similar to years past. We're going to have the stage where it normally is.
Yeah, right. And that last year, the last time we did it in 2018, it had been raining for a while. It was forecast to continue raining, and I had just come off of spending quite a bit of money to
redoing the build from the year before.
The park. So 2 days or 3 days before the festival, I decided to flip it and move it all to the other side so I could stay more on asphalt. That in itself was stupid and crazy, but
it didn't.
But it worked.
It didn't take away from.
But nobody liked it, including me. So I went back to the original spot. And Sandy Point was very, very accommodating, and the superintendent of parks for DNR was very accommodating, and gave me a one-time exception to go back to that other side because
well, that's good because that's set up really well with the VIP section right up front there, and the way everything works out. And I mean, I know they've got the vendors and the beer trucks and everything else all around the perimeter.
Right.
It's just a wonderful 2 days in May, and that's Preakness Day too, always, isn't it?
It's always Preakness. We started out on Mother's Day weekend, and volunteers were a problem on the Sunday because we lost them because of Mother's Day. So we moved up. We can't go inside of Memorial Day and Labor Day in a state park.
Oh, that makes sense.
So,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that was the last weekend we could go before you hit Memorial Day, and it was. I would like to have gone into June. There's a little bit more rain, a little less rain during June than there is in May. But
right. Anything special planned for this year?
My daughter wouldn't let me do fireworks.
She hasn't let you do fireworks any year.
I know. Well, this was the last year. I thought maybe I'd get away with it for the last
maybe
year.
She'll let me.
But no, she won't let me do fireworks this year. So we're, I don't know, we might have a couple little things planned, but there'll be a surprise.
Ooh, it sounds like a teaser. So you want to make sure you're there. Well, I know that you guys have partnered up with Katcef, which is not a big surprise, and your Stella Artois as well, and the Anne Arundel County Food Bank.
Right.
To essentially buy a lot of people some meals, because we're still in a really difficult time in our world where people are still food insecure. And there will be Cassie, a special tent that's going to be set up there at the festival where folks can donate $5. It's a simple donation, and that buys meals for how many people? It's like crazy. It's like 15 meals or something like that. That $5.
Yes. So $1 equals 3 meals. So we'll actually be set
now
up.
We're doing math.
I know. I had to think about that for a second. But we'll be set up along with Don's other charities in his kind of charity area. So the Anne Arundel County Food Bank will have their 10 by 10 tent talking about the food bank, how it affects, Anne Arundel County. Again, we're talking about Anne Arundel County, not the state of Maryland. And of course, with Stella Artois, which is a wonderful brand, we'll be selling both chalices for $5. All proceeds go to the food bank. And then we'll also be selling our Stella Artois.
Well, that's awesome. Well, you guys did this last year when COVID was running around and nobody knew whether they could, even breathe. You guys had, Keeping the Blues Alive at Maryland Hall, which was the food drive, and you played the memories of festivals past, which was a wonderful thing. And you guys raised a significant amount of money off of that. It was like $5,000 or something like that.
Well, it wasn't direct money. We actually raised food, so we made a delivery to the food bank. Did some photos, a video reel, and supported on our social channels. But it was an amazing day outside of Maryland Hall, and we talked a lot about the past blues festivals. We did have a special appearance from We Care and Friends. From Larry. So that was lovely to see him, and just an all-around great day. I'm pretty sure I got burnt, and Sarah's kids got burnt too. But so we're bringing it back to the Blues Festival weekend.
I have to find it. I have a picture of Larry. Larry was probably 4 years younger than me. I have a picture in high school.
Oh, really?
Larry and with me and 2 friends. Just a picture of us all together. I will find it and show it to you. It's amazing.
I've got one of Larry and I playing football against each other.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Back in high school.
Yeah.
That's a small world.
So we're excited about that program. Of course, we'll be highlighting our Bud Light, front and center, as well as Budweiser. Special appearance from Michelob Ultra as well. Our craft brand, so Blue Point and Devil's Backbone. And we'll have a seltzer out there for you guys. But looks like we're going to have a great weekend full of blues and beer.
Well, I want to thank Neal Katcef, who is the owner of Katcef Brothers, for not just sponsoring the Chesapeake Bay Blues Festival, but for everything that you do for the community, and the company is always out there. Don, thank you very much for bringing the music for 25 years. A quarter of a century is a huge run. The party is going to be epic. May 21st and 22nd. It's a Saturday and Sunday at Sandy Point State Park. Getting there is easy. You can park remotely you've got on the Eastern Shore.
We have 3 spots. We have the Eastern Shore Park and Ride. It's on, I think it's Thompson Avenue. It's by the Bay Bridge Airport.
Right.
We've got one off of Truman Avenue that's also a park and ride off of Riva Road. And then we have the Naval Stadium, the Navy Academy Stadium.
Right. Free buses that will shuttle your butt right there.
Yep. And sometimes people say the buses is part of the show. So that bus ride.
It's always entertaining on the bus. That is for sure. BayBlues.org is where you want to go for tickets. And keep your eye out for VIP tickets that may or may not come available a little later. We don't have too much time until the festival. And I would suggest making sure you keep an eye on the Chesapeake Bay Blues Festival Facebook page and social medias, because, as we've heard, there may be some other things in the works at some point. And I'm guessing that might be where you might be able to get wind of that.
Yes, absolutely. I think we have 16,000, 17,000 followers on that, so that's a good start to get word on the street if we do decide to get crazy again.
I want to thank you guys again for taking the time today. I know, Neal, you've got a dental appointment pretty soon.
I do.
Epic Party, May 21st and 22nd. Definitely want to be there, babeblues.org. I will be there. I know Cassie will be there. I know Neal will be there. And it's a sort of a given that Don will be there. But you'll probably be there for like a week before. So.
About a week before, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
This Annapolis Bonus podcast has been brought to you by Katcef Brothers, the area's largest beer distributor. Please check them out at thegreatestbeers.com. Oh, and don't forget to check out IAnnapolis.net for all your local news, opinions, and events.